What happened? Dad. What the fuck happened? Fucking lost it. I thought you said you had it together. You were solid.
I am solid. I was solid at the game, Dad. I'm solid. I'm solid now.
You fell apart. What are you fucking
son was
talking
trying to-
about? It's all fucking ruined now. It's all ruined. It's all fucking ruined now.
From the title, you know what's up. I'm giving my 2 cents on why, as a fan of the Witcher series, was disappointed with the Witcher show. Some context before going any further. I was excited for the show. I kept my hopes low, read all the books, played The Witcher 3. December 17th, the show releases. I watched that bad boy, and the show wasn't to my liking. So with the context out of the way. This video will be in my own words, why I'm disappointed with the show, and why I enjoyed the book so much. First off, I don't hate the show, but I also don't like it. So I'll be discussing the reasons why I don't like it, just off the top of my head. I won't nitpick every detail. Then I would have to edit like a 5-hour video. And again, this is all my opinion. If you don't like the show, if you do like the show, then that's fantastic. Be pumped, season 2 is coming out soon. Pros. Overall, the cast is fine. A couple of the casting choices don't mirror the same character in the books. But after a rewatch, it's not a big deal. They're fine. What makes a good casting choice is giving the role to someone who seamlessly slips into their shoes. It's not even an imitation. They are that character. And that character should honor the source. That being the books. Another pro, choreography in the first episode is awesome. Visual effects overall are great. The color palettes for lighting and on the set are really nice. And Geralt using his signs is an A+. A lot of the changes Netflix added to the short stories in The Last Wish and The Sword of Destiny are unnecessary. Character journeys like Ciri's and Yennefer's being prolonged or explained, in other words more exposition, do not shine the characters in the best light. Yennefer's origin wasn't needed, nor the school, nor Istrid and at his age. Ciri's powers are revealed too soon. Should have been revealed in the climax of the season, but I'll get back to that later. She spends the entire season going back and forth in the Brooklyn Forest. It's like A to B and B to A until she meets Geralt.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Ow!
Now, the reason the books are so good is the characters. There's a lot of interesting characters that, when character dynamics meet or clash, it's really entertaining. The characters in these 2 specific books don't ponder on the past, but focus on the moment. Character needs, their survival, and just how does that really play into Destiny, or just who was wittier. Because Yennefer's origin story was told in the show, then why don't we get Geralt's origin in the Trial of the Grasses? The brutal mutation test that turned him into a Witcher as a boy. These short stories in the books introduced and got into why these characters are, as well as their moral compass, and why they are now. What's important is the characters now. So, most of the main cast changes to Yennefer, Ciri, Geralt, I didn't like. The additions make Yennefer dumber and Ciri overhyped. Depending on which episode, Yennefer is between 90 and 120 years in age. Yennefer's in the books and in the games is sharp. She has a habit of speaking for others or undermining others. She's intimidating. She can be a bitch, but it's what you expect from someone with so much life experience. She's just too sharp for anybody to mess with. No knight, mage, or soldier can undermine her. Again, I'm not hating on the show, and I get why new fans like the show. As a fantasy series, it checks off all the requirements for a good fantasy series. That's because there is a good source, so the adaptation only needs to adapt to film, to compare or exceed. Episodes 1 to 5 are about 70% the same as the book. Same setup, dialogue taken straight from the book. Episodes 6 to 8 is about 30% of what the book is, and it shows. These last episodes have a strange tone, pace, they feel like they're rushed, and the last episode is anticlimactic. In The Sword of Destiny, when Geralt first meets Ciri in the Brooklyn Forest, he's saving her from a giant centipede. It's not this end-all reunion. In fact, neither knows one and the other. They go back and forth, and this is where you start to get a sense of Ciri. She's bratty and smart. She's like 10 at this point. But the 2 end up being taken to the Dryads because they're going to turn Ciri into one of them, because that's just what they do with little girls that wander into the Brooklyn Forest. Pure Dryads are no longer created, so they make hybrids. And they turn little girls into Dryads. So events unfold. Ciri drinks their waters, but she's immune. And it all has to come down to Destiny, and that's why the short story is told. Ciri and Geralt's chemistry shines in this part of the story. You get a sense of how strong this little girl and how great of a father Geralt would make if he could have kids. When it comes to the timeline, the show is episodic, however, the first 2 books are not. The show is all over the place. When Yennefer's origin is 90 years apart from Geralt's tale. As an example, the fall of Sintra in episode 1 does not occur before the Sylvan story in episode 2. Series events are basically in the present, while Yennefer's are the farthest back. Episode 5 has Yennefer meeting Geralt with the Jinn story for the first time. Episode 6 is the Golden Dragon, where in the book, many hired hands are sent to kill a green dragon. Geralt refuses until he realizes Yen is on this journey. Because they had broken up for some time, for like 2.5 years in their relationship, he decides to go on the journey because he hasn't seen her for like almost a year. Episode 6 reasoning makes me laugh. Geralt apparently wasn't in bed the next morning after episode 5, so who wrote this shit?
Dare you!
For the show stream, there were a lot of rumors that the show is becoming woke because of casting choices that departed from the lore. On top of that, the Nilfgaardian armor leaked, and it looked like the show wasn't in good hands. Honestly, it's a double-edged sword. The casting choices, some of it doesn't matter and some of it does. Like with the Dryads as Amazonian women, mixed race. They treat people kind of like nymphs, which explains their discrimination because of the separation of species. Many of the changes in the show are really to make the show relevant in today's culture if you really look at it. There's a lot of political talk in the show that doesn't really go anywhere. It's all exposition that the books wouldn't really touch on. All you need to know is that the South is invading the North and they're both just as bad. There's also a lot more discrimination than in the books. And what I mean by that is when you have discrimination focusing on a dwarf or elf, so discrimination that goes against species or between species, whereas the show highlights gender discrimination. And sure, you would get that with the sorceresses in the books as well, but it isn't interpreted the same, whereas in the books, they were not even seen as being human. Also, another thing I don't like, majority of the male side characters' changes make them out to be complete assholes. Cahir is now this ruthless villain, without spoiling further into the books. He's not a bad guy. Foltest is this fat king who doesn't care about his daughter being saved. When in the books, it's the total opposite. Foltest is actually quoted as this handsome king who puts down the proclamation for his daughter to be cured of the curse, not killed. That's why she lives so long. Also, Stregobor gets more screen time than when he was only in the Lesser Evil short story. I don't know why they're giving this guy so much screen time. Like, all the stuff he says, it's like general evil villain quotes. It's not needed. I don't know. Maybe the show's just trying to be like Game of Thrones, like it's trying to hit on the success of it, and it's adding this extra layer to it with like all the political talk, the extra discrimination, social commentary. That could be it. Is the show more woke? I don't know. Just watch the show and figure it out for yourself. You decide. But I do believe that the show is straying away from the source than when it started. So you don't have to agree, and you can disagree with my own views. These are my own views, my opinion. Now season 2 is on its way. Rumor has it Mark Hamill's going to be Vesemir. I think he would make a great Vesemir. I'll still watch it. I don't know if I'm going to be excited. And it's publicly been announced that the guy who plays Tormund, I can't say his name, Christopher Hivu, I don't know how to say it, is going to be playing Nivellen. I think that's a cool casting choice. Again, I don't like this choice because this short story should have been in season 1. This is more like a filler short story to see how smart and badass Geralt is as the Witcher, how good of a detective he is, and it's a great twist on the Beauty and the Beast story. This should have been in season 1. I was pretty disappointed that I didn't get to see it. I don't see how it could work in season 2 because now series with Geralt, it's going to be strange. I imagine it's going to be them on their way to Kaer Morhen and they meet Nivellen. I don't know. I don't see how it could possibly work even with Ciri now having her powers. So let's see how it goes. So that's my 2 cents. And I don't want to go any deeper into why I don't like the show. Because this isn't a hearing where there's a judge and a grand jury and I don't need to defend myself. And if you like the show, then good for you, you son of a...